based.
Hey, I'm wondering why you think it's so difficult to legislate like doxing. Is there like a technical reason or a specific reason?
I mean, what would it look like? What is the behavior you think that should be illegal?
I feel like are you familiar with like culpable negligence and like how that's required for a manslaughter or like second degree charge?
I can guess by the words, but
Go for it.
my guess is culpable negligence probably means that you knew that by virtue of being careless in some level of action that you're going to be culpable for something that happens as a result of your carelessness. So for instance, if I get in a car and I'm driving around at like 150 miles an hour and it's wet and I get into a slip and slide and I crash and kill somebody, that would be like some kind of like criminal negligence that I'd be culpable for because I know operating a vehicle what's going to happen and I know that like there's a chance that shit like that. So that'd be my guess.
Right. So how is it decided that you're guilty of that?
I don't know the legal test for it, but I imagine it's going to be some test of like,
It's the
is it
reasonableness
reasonable?
standard.
Yeah, is it reasonable that you
Exactly.
knew that the actions you would do could bring about some type of harm or whatever, right?
Were the actions actually likely to cause some injury or death? And is it reasonable for a person to have assumed that this action would have reached those ends? And did the person do it?
Yeah.
Right. So in California, we do have a state law against like cybercrime harassment, which is basically like you don't need to have all these details figured out in law. It can simply be, was the information posted with the intent? You know, we do task judges and juries of being mind readers to some extent, right? This is like the difference between murder one, two, and three, where three is applicable. Like, was the information posted? Did it carry a credible threat that could reasonably result in some harassment or some activity that like a person would be reasonable in feeling a level of fear over? And was that the intent of the person posting the information?
So the issue is, Kiwi Farms is a really good example. So they say that they collect information just for the purposes of documenting it, right? And there's probably some people on that website that actually believe that they do that. They collect it because it's funny to like know where people live and to have access to that information and like, yeah, boom, that's it. And if somebody were to go out and do something bad with it, well, I mean, they didn't intend for that to happen. Like, how would you prosecute somebody like that?
Well, you would just have to, you would bring the charge up, and then it would be up to a judge or a jury to decide if they're lying or if what the intent really was. Like for it to be brought to that point, a person's going to plead not guilty anyway, and then the trial becomes, about is this person telling the truth or not? Do I believe this person? That's, that's how we decide a lot of cases, right?
Yeah, I guess. What about in the case of like publishing somebody's information in the media then?
Yeah, it's a similar thing. Like you would, if you were to bring a case, if there was to be like a civil case of me versus you, I think you posted this with the intent of making me scared for my life and the information. I'm reasonable in assuming that, or I'm reasonable in feeling that way based on the information that was posted. It carried a credible threat of people harassing me or something like that. Then you would have to prove that, right? Or you would have to you would have to have your lawyer convince a group of people that that's the case. And that's what the trial would be about. Was like I feel like, no, I ain't no big city lawyer, and I feel like we should be being chaperoned by Pisco or some other, legal Andy in your community or something like that, because I'm not a lawyer. But like the case that you would bring against a journalist for publishing your private information would probably hinge on like, was it necessary to publish this? Right? Like what does publishing my personal information, if we can establish that publishing that information was likely to cause some harassment for me, and that I can convince people that you did so with the intention of causing, that harassment, or at least like with the intention of making me fear harassment or, making me fear my safety or something like that, then we would move to like, was it necessary for the purpose of journalism or something like that? And if we can prove that it was not necessary, it would probably go really far in establishing that.
Fuck yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
It doesn't seem that hard.
It seems really hard. This is so much harder than like a social media policy because like social media has like so much flexibility in terms of how they want to regulate their TOS. But we're talking about making it actually illegal for me to post something online about another person, right? Which in the United States, I don't know.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
It would be illegal for you to post something that carries a credible threat to somebody's safety or their like emotional health or whatever, with the intention of doing it. It wouldn't be illegal to post the information.
But it's not a direct call to violence. It's just posting the information of somebody.
again, it's posting it with the intention of causing some emotional distress or causing a person to fear for their safety.
Careful, right? Because emotional distress, I don't care. I don't want emotional distress to be illegal, right? But now some type of threat or harm, maybe. Or no, if it's some type of threat, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you don't think we should ever have anything that legislates, like, you don't think we should ever legislate against harassment or anything?
No way. Not make it illegal to harass somebody like that, no. In real life, I think, like, restraining orders and everything are okay. Like, we can do that, but, I don't know. I'd be interested.
What about, like, hate crimes?
What about them?
Well, isn't that just a form of harassment?
No.
Or must it carry some implicit threat to violence?
I don't think that there are I don't think there are hate crimes. I think that hate is like an aggravating factor. Hate is like an extra thing you can throw on top of a crime, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like an amplifier. That's my basic understanding anyway, but...
Mm-hmm. Like, I can't, like, if I call someone the N-word, that's not a crime. But if I beat somebody up and call them the N-word, then my assault becomes like a hate crime or something, right? It has to be connected to something else, I think. It's an amplifier. Yeah, you said it. I don't know why I just repeated what you just said. Bring Pisco in here. Argue with him. See what he thinks.
Yeah, I would like to. Anyway. Is he here? Let me see if I can ping him in chat. Nope. I'll DM him and then we'll come back.
Go do it. That's what I want to hear.
How? I didn't follow. I was busy all weekend. Can you tell me how the canvassing event went?
Oh, because you were trying to make your way to Georgia, but you got lost, right? That's okay. It happens. I went fine, I thought.
Is there a meme there, or you just expected me to be there or something?
You were supposed to be there.
I really wanted to be there. I was working in production. Okay.
I was sick all weekend, which was fucking annoying. And now everybody else is sick, so fuck them all.
Okay, well, tell me, come on, like, it has to have been pretty good. How did it compare to the very first Georgia canvassing event?
No, it's honestly, the problem is I don't have much to tell you because it all went incredibly smoothly.
That's fucking awesome. That's what I want to hear then.
Yeah, it went well. It went super well. Damn, chill. Calm the fuck down. Damn.
Fuck! Monday's the first day!
It's not, though. You're American, bro. You can't get away with seeing some wild shit like that, okay? Monday is not the first day.
It seems like you were... I overheard you talking about a lot of problems that happened with the first one, with people not really wanting to go out and do the work. Was that really a major problem, or just a thing that kind of happened here and there and you noticed it?
It was a major problem. But this time, everybody did a phenomenal job, so...
That's fucking godlike.
Yeah, it was cool.
Were there some lessons you learned to, like, help achieve that? Or just, you think complaining about it on your stream, like, helped people?
Not on my end. I think Christian and Matt just did a really, really, really good job.
Fucking godlike, dude.
Yeah, they are.
And yet you came home so cranky.
I mean, I was sick. What do you expect?
Fair enough. I'm fucking, I'm floored. It's 50 grand of Euro money. That's really crazy.
50, wait, oh yeah, that was kind of annoying, but now I dyed my hair blue so I can fundraise for the next one. I won't feel bad, so fuck them.
All right, take it easy.
Ooh, be careful, babe. Drag Sejin in. Wait, Sejin isn't able to join? You don't have roles?
Sorry, I should have muted. What I was going to ask you is, how do you find people that you think would be, like, good with real life, like, on the fly logistics stuff? Like, what kind of skill sets do you think would you look for people for?
Are you asking me, like, if you're looking for people, like, what my suggestions would be, or?
Kinda, yeah. Like, I'm just curious because it's kind of a judgment of character, judgment of capabilities kind of thing.
I think that the most important thing when you're hiring people to do stuff is how well they do self-direction and how well they delegate tasks. If you're looking for, like, leadership type people. So for instance, if you give somebody a task, how well are they able to complete that task without asking you for a ton of micromanagement? And if you are, if they have other groups of people underneath them, are they able to split up work and assign it effectively to a lot of people? Those are probably the most important leadership skills, I think.
Oh, so I'm Am I just like Giga Chat? Okay, got it.
You do okay. Now, I will say that you filling out those 50 million boards when you had 50 workers around you standing idle. It's not your best moment, but
Listen up. This is how I viewed it. I didn't want to make anyone do any work that they didn't sign up for. So
bro,
that means I'm willing to do extra work.
These
to make this a
motherfuckers
better-
all got free hotel rooms for a whole weekend, okay? Put them to fucking work, okay? Fuck these guys.
It'd be nice to get more feedback on the event, though. Just because there's a lot of good feedback. Like, people liked it. People met a lot of people.
Mhm.
People had fun. But I don't know. It's hard to evaluate with no criticism, you know?
Yeah. Are you have you ever done dog training before?
I had a dog when I was younger, yeah.
People are kind of like dogs in that this is gonna sound really weird and it feels very alien if you're not used to it, but people actually really, really, really like being given directions by somebody who seems like they're in charge. Like there's some facet of human or mammal experience that feels fine, and it can be difficult or awkward to issue commands as somebody in a leadership role. But if people like see you as authoritative and they feel like you have a handle on what's going on, you can actually divide up a ton of work and assign it to people. And if people feel like you know what you're doing and what's going on, they'll do it, and they'll do it happily because they feel like they're like part of something that's like working well. Yeah, even if it feels like you're like overstepping boundaries or you're like making people do things they don't want to, like they'll enjoy it. Especially you have to figure too, especially people are there because they want to be there, right? That was like volunteering. Yeah, that was like volunteering shit, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of people did. Why do I keep missing my mute button? A lot of people were like asking for work. It was, but yeah, I think it's weird to because this was one of the complaints that we got, and I think I asked about early on. And maybe it's worth considering now that we're done, everything's nice and calm.
Sure.
People want to help, obviously, and people want to be involved, and we're controlling for like the most people that would want to be involved and active and helping and contributing, right? So how can we give these people a more meaningful experience other than just canvassing?
A more meaningful experience other than just canvassing. I think the socialization is meaningful to a lot of people. So people legitimately enjoy talking to each other and doing the game night, playing poker at the end. Like those social interactions.
I think that was good.
Yeah.
I'm talking about being more part of the mainline event, though. Like, obviously, me and Matt rely a whole lot on the old Omaha team. Just because we know that they're reliable, they're a known quantity. And when we're making decisions on getting people to help out, we're never going to take an unknown quantity over a known quantity that we know can get the job done, right? But that cuts out a lot of people from your community from an opportunity that they might have in the future.
I mean, there's probably work for everybody if you divvy up people enough, or if you've got squads you can assign to people. Like you can have 20 people assigned to like trash pickup where it's their job to do that. Unironically, one of the best leadership things I've ever seen in my entire life. Have you ever seen a movie called School of Rock?
Dude, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a really good example of leadership because he assigns different jobs to everybody. And realistically, we know that there are star performers there and that other people are doing jobs that anybody could do. But he had a really good method of handing out roles to everybody, making everybody feel like they were part of the team and that the show wouldn't work without every single person working. So probably having like just different groups of people involved in different things, like even if it's like a 40-person crew for like cleanup or whatever, is probably good, just so that everybody has some kind of role or some kind of job. That'd be like my guess. But the problem is like obviously it's going to get prohibitively hard, because we had like over 200 people there. Like it's going to be hard to find jobs for everybody. But starting to make like big groups of people that could do stuff that maybe would be a good thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Huh. What do you think about? I'm trying to think of a way to make this like not so expensive for you. Um,
Not so expensive for me would have been fundraising probably.
really? Oh. How would you feel about um doing kind of what we did in Omaha, but with a normal campaign, not a local campaign?
With
Like,
a
what if we picked a seat in for the 2024 election, and we did canvassing, um, not just like for um, a runoff, but for like the actual after the primary, fully canvassing for a Senate candidate and a presidential candidate, like getting people to register to vote, and going through the full process instead of just hitting the tail end one.
yeah, I mean we could. What are you asking me? Like,
Because I was like, Omaha ran more efficiently than all of our events in terms of dollars per door knocked.
mm-hmm.
Um, and that was carried by the on the ground team. Does that make sense?
Oh, like the permanent like volunteers that we have
Yeah, the
set up.
permanent volunteers. They carried the like I think each person because I got really good at cutting lists
Mm-hmm.
and um, they got really good at coordinating within their groups.
Mm-hmm.
I think each person per day probably knocked 200 doors plus every single day
Mm-hmm.
that they went out. So it's obviously the most cost effective, and they're also the most experienced. Um, and then they obviously had the better metrics in terms of like getting signs out, um, getting potential donors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the way to go is like the permanent setup, right? Yeah. What are you asking me though? Like, I mean, if we did that for another election, like from the start, it'd be good or something, right?
Yeah, just to try it out because while canvassing, getting out the vote is really important for especially runoffs because it helps with turnout. Um, how you would win elections. I mentioned this to you when we were in Savannah. Is like canvassing won't the way we were doing it. The canvassing won't um, win an election, but it will win a close election.
Sure.
But the way you build a voter base is by going out, talking to people, getting involved, get registering them to vote, and kind of staying connected to that voter all the way until the election.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
So uh, I'm trying to think because like obviously um, me and Matt don't have like the a wide political background, so we were doing this based off everything we learned previously, and so
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I learned um, from the people I met uh, through politics. So
Mm-hmm.
if this was, I don't know, I'm just trying to keep you giving you feedback so that I can improve because I feel like
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
if we were like trying to be ultra serious, try hard about a thing, we would do this a lot differently. But this was obviously like a last fucking minute thing that we had set up. So like, there's a lot of different things to do. I just that there's just like the difficult questions about all of that are have more to do with me and who I am over like the organizational stuff, right? Because it's a matter of not running into weird shit like the Omaha hit piece shit again. You know, stuff like that is our probably our biggest challenges over anything else.
what if the community sponsored like a couple of the offshoot groups that you spawned, and then we did big events with them?
Yeah, we
Would
could,
that
but here's the issue. There's always going to be like either I'm close enough to be effective, meaning I'm close enough to be attackable, or I'm so far away that like they can't attack me. My character doesn't matter, but then like we can't really help that much, right?
I think we've discovered that no one cares in the big general races, right?
As long as we have no official connection to any of the campaigns, right?
Um, I mean,
Like I
Matt,
think
Matt,
that like we had enough people. This is a guess I have, but if we'd done this far enough in advance, like somebody in my position who's not me probably could have gotten like a dinner, or at the very least like some type of meet and greet, or well, I'm sorry, for sure a meet and greet with Warnock and maybe Ossoff, right? If we're bringing that much out, and I've seen the types of people that those people meet, you only have to throw like $5,000 at these guys to get a meet and greet, right? They're cheap as fuck. But like because of my background and everything, those relationships become a lot more tenuous, right?
I think if you did what I was talking about, where you sponsor groups or you are more consistent with it, I think over time that will build legitimacy, because it's not so much like getting a dinner with the candidates isn't really about like one-off thank yous. It's about building a relationship, right? It's basic
I mean,
sales
ideally, right?
principle,
Yeah.
right? Like we met some. I send you the contact information from the Savannah person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we maintain relationships with these people over time, then like a dinner is probably nothing.
Well, but I wouldn't want the dinner. I would want the dinner, and I would want it to be public, right? Because I want my community to feel involved, and that's where things get hairy, right?
I mean, one step at a time, right?
Sure, no, I know. Well, but like I'm saying that right now with my current reputation, I don't know if that would ever be more beneficial than potentially harmful, right? Like, look at how harmful Fuentes has been to fucking Trump's reputation, and that was during like a private fucking dinner, you know. But yeah, I don't know. What these are all things I'd like consider in the future. I guess I'll have to think about like the next set of elections that are coming up to see if I actually want to do something like this.
I'm just saying, if you really want that end goal,
Mm-hmm.
I said this earlier, but in a different, I was talking more local then, but like if you want to do this more long term, then I think a roadmap would be really important um, to like anyone who's in charge, like whether it be me in the near future or whoever takes over
Mm-hmm.
me and Matt's roles in the future, knowing where you want to go is really important, I think, because that thing that happened in Savannah popped up really fast, and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell them, right?
Sure.
So, um, yeah, and like also know, I mean, like also knowing what they, yeah, I think you just need to build connections
Okay.
over time, and then those connections will sanitize you and make you more mainstream, and they can't hurt you with the old stuff so much.
Gotcha. I'll keep it in mind. Okay.
All right. Um, have fun, and I will talk to you later, buddy.
Okay. Don't be too sick. Okay.